If your week feels like it happens to you instead of for you, I want to give you a new sentence. You don't need more motivation. You need a weekly reset. Because when you skip a weekly reset, you don't just lose time, you lose peace. And then you spend the whole week paying interest on chaos. Today is the first episode in the March series, The Five Systems of Wholeness. And we're starting with the foundation, the weekly reset system. It takes about 20 minutes. It works even when life is busy, and it helps you plan your week in a way that supports mind, body, spirit, and even your money.
Good morning, or good afternoon, or maybe it's evening. It doesn't really matter what time it is, and it doesn't even matter where you are. We want to welcome you to Wholeness Wednesdays. So grab a cup of coffee or tea and join our host, Beatrice Hutchison, as we explore and experience our journey to complete wholeness.
Welcome to Wholeness Wednesdays on Completely Whole. I am Beatrice Hutchison, your host, and this month we're not chasing goals. We're building systems because systems carry you when motivation disappears. This is episode number 1, the weekly reset system. Next week we'll cover regulation routines, and the week after that we'll talk about money systems, and we'll also talk about some rhythms for the soul, the spiritual aspect of it as we are moving through the Lent season. So I want to start off with this question right up front. How do you plan, or ask yourself this question, how do I plan my week so I don't feel overwhelmed? You plan your week by doing a short weekly reset where you review what's coming, choose a few priorities, name your constraints, and schedule what matters first. Weekly planning reduces mental clutter, it helps you to finish tasks, and lowers rumination because your brain trusts there is a plan and it can rest. There is research showing that weekly planning can reduce unfinished tasks and rumination and improve cognitive flexibility. So why does this work? Here's why a weekly reset is so powerful. Your brain hates open loops. Unfinished tasks stay mentally active, which can fuel stress and rumination. And when you try to juggle everything all at once, task switching eats your attention. One review, paper notes, research suggesting task switching can cost up to 40% of productive time. So instead of letting everything float in your mind and your head, we're going to put it all into a system. Let me share this quote with you. Weekly planning shows positive effects on unfinished tasks, after work rumination, and cognitive flexibility. Now let's talk about the weekly reset system. What are we talking about when we say that? It's a system. It's a simple rhythm I call review, reduce, and rebuild. You want to review what's real, reduce the overload, and rebuild your week on purpose. So you can do this on Sunday night, Monday morning, or any day that you choose. The point of it is consistency. So, step number 1, review. This can take you 5 minutes. Start with 3 quick reviews. You want to do your calendar review, which can take you just about 60 seconds. You want to ask the questions: what appointments are already locked in? What deadlines are non negotiables? And then number two, you want to do a life inventory. And this can take up to 2 minutes. It requires that you think a little bit more, but you want to write down these categories: mind, body, spirit, money, relationships, and home. Now write one sentence under each. What's the biggest thing I'm carrying in this area? Is the question you want to answer. Step number three is to task dump. This also should take you roughly about 2 minutes to do, but you want to brain dump everything that's floating in your head. No organizing it yet, just dumping it out onto paper, just getting it out. And so the research tie-in here shows that there's evidence that making specific plans for unfinished goals can reduce intrusive thoughts and mental interference. Now let's talk about step number two: reduce. This will take you a little bit longer, 7 minutes, but this is where we reduce the overload because wholeness requires margin. So let's consider the 4D filter. Take your brain dump and label the items. So you want to delete what's not needed. You want to delegate someone else. You want to delegate things that others can do that someone else can do easily or with a little bit of support. Delay. Mark those things that you can put a delay on, things that do not absolutely have to be done this week. And then you want to label do. Only what matters now. So you want to make sure that you prioritize what you absolutely have to do now. Then you choose your big three for the week. Not 15, not 20, just three things. If everything is a priority, then nothing is protected. So you want to think about your three items that are a priority for the week. And then you can also pick a weekly theme. That's not required, but it is something that can be powerful. An example of this would be peace and follow through. That's my theme for the week. Or health and hydration. That's one of my goals. I'm going to focus on that this week. Finish what I start, or financial clarity. So if you assign a theme to the week, it can help you to stay focused every day of that week on whatever three goals that you set that are assigned to your theme. This keeps your week from becoming a scattered playlist. Step number three. Now we're talking about rebuilding. Step three is the rebuild phase or step. And this can take about 8 minutes for you to complete. But this is where we rebuild your week with structure. So now we've done the brain dump. Now we've labeled everything. Now we want to rebuild it so that we can use it or categorize it appropriately or implement this new structure that we need to put in place. So first you want to put the big three on the calendar first, right? Those three priorities. And so if it isn't scheduled, it gets sacrificed. So you want to look at those things that have already been locked in. So one, you want to block your biggest task. Then you want to also create one block for the admin or for life maintenance, right? Those things that you have to sit down and kind of plan out and do. You want to block some time for that. Also, you want to create a block for rest or relationship health, right? If you're a parent, you need to be mom or you need to be dad. You need to be engaged with your family, or just time to rest and rejuvenate is also important. Next, you want to add one wholeness anchor per pillar. So you can keep it small, but this is a system that could really, really help you to focus. And so it's not a fantasy, but it's a system that could help you to really kind of recalibrate and refocus. So for your mind, you can have a 10-minute journal or brain dump where you can write in your journal, or you could do the brain dump. You can incorporate that into what we've been talking about with our steps here. Also for your body, a 20-minute walk or meal prep or something where your body is moving. Next, your spirit. 10 minutes of scripture and prayer, right? It doesn't if you can, if you have more time to spend, you certainly want to spend that here, really get some direction, get some wisdom for your week. But if you only have 10 minutes, that's fine. Have it be structured and be very intentional though. So have your do your scripture and also pray. Also, the pillar for money, right? This can be a 15-minute budget check where you're looking at where you are with your budget or what you're planning for the week, or any expenses that you are expecting that week, that you can do that within those 15 minutes. And then you want to use if then plans. This allows implementation to be intentional. So this is the glue that sticks all of the habits together. It's the glue that makes the habits actually stick, or what we're planning, it makes it stay or become a consistent structure. So here is a simple formula. If it's 7:30 a.m., then I drink water and I pray for 10 minutes. If it's Sunday evening, then I do my weekly reset for 20 minutes. Research on implementation intentions show that if then planning can increase follow through with a goal compared with goal intentions alone. So you set the goal, it's more likely that you will follow through on the goal when you have an if then, right? If you pair it with something else that you're already doing. And so let's do it together. I'm going to share my screen. All right, so you want to write down on a piece of paper. You could use a whiteboard, you could use a journal, a notepad, any place where you can write this down. But you want to write your big three. So, what are your big three priorities this week? I'm going to say for myself, hydration, rest, and prayer. So, write one wholeness anchor for each of these. All right, for my mind, I am going to brain dump for 10 minutes before bed each night. For the body, I am going to drink my body weight in ounces per day. For the spirit, I am going to read scripture and pray at the beginning of each day. And then for money, I am going to review my budget at the beginning and end of the week to plan and track weekly expenses. And then my one thing, if then. If I take my shower in the morning. Then I will follow up with prayer and scripture reading. So these are just simple things to just include, but these are all things based on my big three. And then for each of the wholeness anchors, what I'm going to do for each of those pillars, and then my if then plan. And so I have to shower in the morning, right? So because I'm pairing the shower in the morning with my prayer and scripture reading, then it's more likely that I'll do it, right? Based on what we learned tonight. So pair it with something that you know you already do. If it's have your morning tea, or if it's have whatever it is, or do whatever it is, something that is a routine for you to do every morning, then whatever new task you're bringing in, you can assign it to that. Or it could be the other way around. It could be if I do prayer and scripture in the morning, I follow it up with maybe my shower to do that then, or to bring in something that's completely new. I listen to something inspirational, or I have breakfast, right? So any of those things you can attach to it, but anything new that you're trying to implement, or anything that you would like to remain consistent with, attach it to something, to your if, right? Something that is already a part of your routine. If then. So we did it very quickly. I hope that that was helpful, but there you have your weekly reset plan. So very quickly before we end, let's have some real talk. So if you are thinking, my week is unpredictable, I can't always plan it out, things always happen, then this is exactly what you need. You need this because you need to have a weekly reset it's not about controlling your life. It's about creating a plan that's flexible enough to hold real life, right? So it gives you a structure. It doesn't allow just for things to happen all over the place and then you get nothing accomplished. It's to help you add structure so that you can allow for real life to happen, right? If these things don't consume your entire day, they just add structure to your day. And so you still have that flexibility to do what you need to do, even as things come up, to address them appropriately. But at least it doesn't take you away from everything else that you need to accomplish for yourself, to make sure that you're still working towards wholeness. And that's our goal here together. Each time we meet, we are talking about becoming whole in every area in our lives. So let me say this. You don't need a perfect week. You just need a prepared week to really be able to accomplish some things and to reduce the overwhelm so that you'll have some peace. So if you want this little template that we went over today, you can check down in the description below and you'll find it there, just so that you can print it out or you can type it out, however you want to do, cut and paste. You can do that as well, but start to put some things in place. So put this into action. We're always talking about implementing the things that we learn and we talk about. So do that today so you can download, or you can copy and paste your very own copy so that you can write this and start working on that. So you can put down your big three and one sentence for each of the different pillars, the different major areas, and then your if then statement. And so you see, it took only a few minutes for us to do together, and that's because I was typing in the information, but really doesn't take long at all. But this can be your 20-minute weekly reset checklist. You can include your big three that we talked about, your 4D filter page, those wholeness anchors for your mind, body, spirit, and money, and then the prompt that we gave for the if then. So grab it down in the description box below. I promise you it will help you. And also, do me a favor, subscribe, because next week we're building the regulation system, your daily routines for emotional and physical wholeness. That's what we're talking about next week. So you don't want to miss that. And remember, you don't have to live in survival mode all the time. You can build rhythms that support excellence and your peace. Your weekly reset is not one more thing to do, it's the thing that makes everything else feel lighter. So, as we close together, as we often do, let us do our affirmation, our declaration together. Repeat after me. I will implement my weekly reset, and it will help me to apply structure to my week that will ultimately provide peace, calm, and direction. Until next week, be made whole.
We thank you for sharing this time with us here at Wholeness Wednesdays. Thank you for joining us to explore and experience this journey to complete wholeness. Please remember that we are only an email away. Your questions and input are welcome via bhutch@CompletelyWhole1.com. See you next time here at Wholeness Wednesdays.